Did you know that Google personalizes many searches by city and Also Ask is the only tool to access live People Also Ask data at city level? Try for free at alsoasked.com.
Tired of SEO guesswork? Quadra's AI agent goes deeper to uncover high-impact optimizations and completes hours of SEO in minutes. Get started now.
I was going to say that SEO with Fat Joe is as peaceful as this, but then the birds are all having fights.
Thank you, everyone. It's nice to see you all here today. As mentioned, my name's Emily and I am the founder of Barrington SEO, and I am here today to talk to you about competitor research. Now, the reason that I chose this talk as opposed to something slightly more innovative is that most of the people that I speak to in the marketing space say they do competitor research, but when I pry a little bit deeper, very few of them do it well. Now, every time I come to Brighton SEO, I leave enthusiastic with 5 or 10 different things that I want to go away and put into work when I get back to my desk on Monday. So it's unrealistic for me to sit here and talk to you about some of the competitor research that I'll do at project kickoff stage that potentially will take days, if not weeks, to get done on a specific industry and a specific set of competitors. What I want to do is leave you with actionable takeaways that you can go away and put into work straight away. So today we're going to break competitor research down into 2 things. The first is we're going to talk about how you can reverse engineer a competitor's SEO strategy in 1 hour or less. And then we're going to talk about how you can implement those strategies into a meaningful SEO strategy that will accelerate your success. Now, to start, we're going to start talking about reversing engineering. The place that I would start for my competitor research is the top pages report on Ahrefs. If you have a different preference on a tool, the majority do have this kind of report within their suite. The reason I'm starting here is because the first question I want to answer is what pages on my competitor's site is driving the majority of their organic traffic. As you can see from the screenshot, I'm going to use the example of Cocoa Pup. There are pet brands. If there are any pet brands in the room today, you're in luck. This is going to be very, very relevant to you. You don't have to spend long on this report. In fact, when I did this research for Cocoa Pup, I spent 36 seconds in the report. What I was looking at was what the URL structure was, what was ranking first, the average amount of total monthly organic traffic. Luckily for me, Cocoa Pup had a brilliant URL structure, which meant I could very quickly then start filtering by collection pages, product pages, and blog pages, and I could get an idea of how much traffic each subfolder drove. 36 seconds into my research, I had 3 key findings, and that was that collection pages drove 70% of organic traffic. I also found that blogs drove very little of the traffic, despite 52 of them being found. And the same with product pages. So there were 450 different product pages, and very little of them drove traffic. So at this point, I had kind of 2 key things I wanted to look for as I went through this analysis. The first was a hunch that they had a collection first SEO strategy, and that's where they're prioritizing a lot of their efforts and impact. And secondly, the blogs. That really, really piqued my interest. Why have they not driven any traffic despite 52? Is it a deliberate strategy? Is it something that's not working in the space? Or is it a gap that me as a competitor could leverage? Once you've done that, ultimately you now know what pages on the site are driving traffic, and you want to look at what keywords are driving the traffic through to those pages. So it's time to dig into keyword strategy. Very quickly, I'm going to filter out any branded terms or any noise within the report, because this is an hour's worth of research, so we want to streamline our analysis. What I'm trying to look for is search intent. So are they prioritizing commercial keywords, or are they prioritizing informational? Do they have a healthy mix of both? Also, keyword clusters, are they talking about a really broad range of different topics, or is it quite narrow and they're keeping within their niche? I'm then going to tie that into ranking positions. So are they performing best for commercial or informational? And the same for the keyword clusters. What are they performing really well for? What are they not that could represent a gap? I get that keyword analysis can take quite a lot of time, so a couple of time-saving hacks to keep this within an hour include stuff like using the user intent categories within your SEO tool. If I had all the time in the world, probably wouldn't use them because they're not that reliable, but they can be a great tool for getting a quick overview. Other things include splitting your ranking URLs by trailing slash using text to columns. That will break up the URL structure, and you can pull out the subfolders and use them as your primary keyword clusters. If the URLs don't allow for that, or they're not really working that way, you could potentially use ChatGPT. I really begrudgingly say that because it takes so much time to train the bot to organise it in the same way as a human, but it is an option, and I'm sure some of you will just argue that my prompts are rubbish. So at this point in my analysis, it looks a little bit like this. I have a keyword cluster, the intent, number of keywords, monthly searches, and average rank. And I'm starting to get a very quick overview of what the keyword performance is on the site. So some of the findings potentially I could take from that is the fact that despite, their real topical authority being around dog walking bags, there's some really random keyword clusters like car air fresheners, travel mats. They also have dog mum sweatshirts. Interestingly, when I click those ranking URLs, they actually all go to empty pages. So I guess in the place of Cocoa Pup, potentially they went really, really broad, realized it didn't work, and then niched back. Once we've done that, we then want to look at site structure and internal linking strategy, and ultimately we're looking at how they're supporting those rankings through their site architecture. Now, most people would jump straight into Screaming Frog, and that is a rookie error. The first thing you should be doing is clicking through the site yourself. Get an understanding of how they're structuring things and organising things as a user first. That's going to make your spreadsheets a little less overwhelming, and it's going to give you some direction. Things I'm looking for when I'm going through, say, the competitor Cocoa Pup. First, I'm starting on the main nav. What are they linking to? What's the URL structure? Very quickly, I'm finding things like they've got a category called leads. To me, that's a primary collection page, and it sits straight off the collections URL. They've then, in the main nav, got rope leads. To me, that's a secondary collection page. But interestingly, it doesn't sit off a dogs leads subfolder. It sits off the collections again. When I'm looking at the home page, I'm looking at things like what pages are they internally linking to? How are they passing that authority through to the site? On your collection pages or your category pages, I'm looking for things such as faceted navigation, whether they're using dynamic or static filtering and sorting options, how they're internally linking through to their products, and also if they've got any internal links kind of at the top or the bottom of the page, which is really atypical of e-commerce. And on the product pages, I'm looking for probably the most strategic way that they're internally linking between different products, different collections, different categories. Do they have a strategy there? And if they do, what is it? I'm also looking at whether or not they've got breadcrumbs, which in this case, Cocoa Pup doesn't. It has a button at the bottom that says back to dog leads. Once you've done that and you've got an idea of the site, you can then start to look at something like Screaming Frog and their inlinks report. Don't just look at the inlinks report as it comes out of an export. There's so much noise in it. Please clean up your data first. It will make your analysis quicker, it will give you better insights, and it will ultimately highlight what that actual SEO strategy is. Some of the things that I remove from the inlinks report include self-referencing internal links. I will also remove multiple instances where the same source links to the same destination multiple times because there's no SEO value in it. Google will not count it, strip them out. The other thing I will do is I will remove the main navigation, footer, and header links from my analysis. The reason for that is every time a page has a main navigation link, it will count as one unique inlink within the Screaming Frog inlinks report. That will unnaturally inflate the data, and what we're actually trying to look at is the inter-page linking. Luckily for me, ChatGPT is quite a whiz and does this way quicker than I ever will. So I'll feed the data into ChatGPT and I'll start to ask it what I want. What I won't do is one big prompt and ask it to go away and do it all. I will break it down into manageable steps and talk the data through it. At that point, my internal linking and site structure analysis looks a little bit like this. It'll have the destination, the top anchor text used by those pages, the internal link count, as well as whether it's linked from the main navigation, the footer, just as a true or false. It's not going to count the actual quantity numbers. And again, something, a nice finding that I could take from this is the fact that they're not using breadcrumbs, they're using that button, means that their top anchor text on all of their pages or collection pages is back to, and the collection, they're missing a really nice opportunity for exact match anchor text. Once you've done that, you then want to check the content format and the UX, all with kind of on-page elements. And you're going to be looking at stuff like the visuals and multimedia they're using, layout and readability, as well as engagement cues and CTAs. Ultimately, at this point, it's not just about what content they have on the page from an SEO perspective, it's also about how they are fostering a great user experience. What are they doing to keep customers on their pages? And ultimately, what are they trying to prompt their customers to do? If I'm looking at Cocoa Pup's collection pages as an example, I'm going back to that filtering and sorting. I just think it's subpar. Sorry if there's Cocoa Pup in the room. I just think it lacks. I would like to have colour options or size. I don't just want to be able to filter by in stock or out of stock. In fact, I would quite like to know that there's not anything out of stock that I could buy. Also, they're missing an opportunity for content at the top and content at the bottom. The real star of this page is the product images. It does the job. If I land on that, I want to click through to the products and I want to know more. And that's ultimately what they're trying to prompt the customer to do. On the product pages, they have got good product imagery and they've got very clear CTA. You can see the add to cart button there. They've also got important information right under it. You've got description, return and delivery information. You've also got a couple of links to the other things in the range if you fancy everything being matching. Again, one of the real stars for Cocoa Pup is their UGC. What you can't see here because the GIFs wouldn't load is all of their UGC's videos, and it makes you stop. You want to watch it. You want to be on the page for longer than you would be in a traditional e-commerce page. And they tie it in with really nice supporting product imagery that's custom to each page. So once you understand how they're supporting keyword rankings from an on-page and a site structure perspective, you then want to look at backlinks. And ultimately, you're going to be answering questions such as, how important are backlinks? What off-page strategy do they have? What's working in the space? And how can I replicate that but do it better? Again, I'm going to start at the best by links because I want to know what pages are receiving the most amount of links on their site. Then, because we're only spending an hour on this and we want it to be quick, I'm going to filter that report by new links in the last 3 months. That's going to give me an understanding of what pages they are building links into in the last quarter. As you can see, there's quite a lot of image links here, and that didn't really sit right with me when I did this, so I started clicking through, and I very quickly realised these weren't deliberately built links. These were not part of their SEO strategy, so I filtered the report. I removed the image links, and I also made a minimum DR of 30, just to start to clear out any of the noise and streamline my analysis. What we start to find is that the most linked to page in the last 3 months was the cat ID tags. Random, they're a pet product, don't have cat products really across the site. Potentially it's something they're trying to look into. Other than that, the collection pages really only have 1 link each. So to me, that's indicative of a really big gap in their strategy, particularly if they are collection first. So once we know what pages they're building links into, we want to answer the question, what methods are they using to build those? If I had all the time in the world, I would export it, I would go through this line item by line item, but we're trying to keep this quick and get as many insights as we want. So we're just going to skim through the backlink report. Depending on the size of your competitor, you can either do this over the last 3 months, last 6 months, last 12 months. Just make sure it's in a manageable amount for you to go through. Some of the things you're going to skim for in order to start to look at how they're building their links include things like if the referring page title includes buying guide or product review, that's indicative they're doing product placement or brand PR. If the anchor text and surrounding text includes phrases like according to, survey, expert, that's indicative of digital PR. If they're getting links through to blog content, standout assets or statistics pages, that would highlight that they're doing content marketing. And if there's highly commercial anchor text through to commercial pages, and there's no real context in the anchor text and surrounding text as to why they're doing that and linking through to those pages, that could be indicative of paid links. And an example of that on Cocoa Pup, as you can see, all 3 referring page titles include gift guide. So to me, it's really quick and easy to start to pull out the fact that not only are they doing product placement and brand PR, they're trying to tie it into seasonality as much as possible. So at this point, you've done 5 steps, you've finished your analysis, congratulations. Hopefully you've still got time on the clock to turn it into a strategy, but you should have a strong understanding of your competitors' strategy. You should have a list of things that they're doing well, that are working, that's driving organic traffic, as well as things that maybe have a question mark around, are they missing that or is that deliberate? So at this point, now we need to look at how we implement that into an SEO strategy. Build on what's working, but aim higher. You are not just here to copy someone's homework, you are here to do it better. If you produce the same user experience, you're really kind of lacking on the internet. You need to be aiming higher. Think about what you can do to take it to the next level. If they're crushing it with their collection pages, can you include filtering? Can you include video content? Can you improve the trust signals on the site? Can you have better product imagery? Is that what's letting you down? If they have links through buying guides, can you leverage those relationships, build stronger ones with journalists? Look at ways to improve your outreach strategy, include exactly what is your USP within your press releases and send them out. Look at what you can do, double it. Then you want to capitalize on gaps within their strategy. For example, if they're missing informational strategy, can you step into that space and own it? If they don't have topical ownership of a category or cluster, can you step in and make sure that you're the people that do? If they're missing key opportunities to internal link, don't just go through your existing page structure and add in a few internal links. Look at what blocks and things and features you can add to your page to create a really strong internal linking strategy and a much better UX. Then once you've got those, you're going to want to prioritize. Ultimately, you're going to want to prioritize your high impact, low effort first. That's because they're your quick wins and it should be fairly quick to get them into action. But as you're doing that, or your team are working on that, you should be planning and resourcing accordingly for your high impact, high effort. Typically, this is something that will sit just outside of SEO. You'll need developers, e-com managers, designers, everyone to sit around a table and talk about the things that you're going to try and roll out, whether it's new commercial pages or a content hub. You need to get everyone bought in from the beginning, talk about it, plan it, and get it into action while you work on your high impact, low effort tasks. So for example, if I was Coco Pup or one of their competitors, I'd look at creating a best-in-class internal linking strategy because that's a quick win. I'd go through my pages and look at how I could implement that. I'd also look at optimizing my collection pages because Coco Pup are investing a lot of money in their collection pages. They are the shop window that people are landing on, and I think it's lacking. I think someone could do it better. I'd look at filtering, internal linking, and trust signals in that kind of instance. On top of that, I'd look at focusing on owning my topic clusters. Yes, they rank really well for dog harnesses, but they don't for fitting guides or the different types of harnesses, or whether you should put a harness on a puppy or a lead. There's so many different pieces of information within that topic that they are missing. So if I step up and I create that content, ultimately it's going to improve my rankings for commercial terms too. And on top of that, I'd look at implementing an outreach strategy and building links into those collection pages because again, I may not be able to compete on them from an overall domain authority or a number of links, but they are lacking building continuous links into their collection pages, and that's an opportunity for me to step up. So hopefully I've left you here today with a lot of different things that you can go and put into practice. What's really important is you don't just do this once, because SEO doesn't sit still, nor do your competitors. You want to revisit, tweak and repeat constantly. At Barrington SEO, we always have a monthly spy session where we pick a competitor, we sit down for an hour and we do this activity. Not only is this going to give you an idea of what's working within the space currently, it's also going to make you review your SEO strategy and make sure that you're focusing on the areas where you're going to have the biggest impact. Thank you.
Demand sphere. Limitless visual insights from the SERPs. Unlimited dashboards and users. Easy to use and easy to scale your growth to new levels.
Monthly reporting making you want to shove sharp things up your nose? Try Dragon Metrics, the all-in-one SEO software with mind-blowing reporting tools.